Sir.
Great. And you are one of those who have been managing his campaign. President Kufuor said he was very excited about him, that he was destined for this. Bawumia says this is Ghana's next chapter that he wants to lead. Selfless leadership, bold solutions for the future. There are many who say the many things he's talking about doing should be done now. Yes?
Yes.
So why? Why should we wait for him to become president?
Well, let me wish our audience a good Saturday morning, and also my brother Felix and yourself. It's a legitimate question that some of those things, especially the removal of taxes and so on, can be done. It will be good for us if they are done now. But that points to the fact, very simple fact, that he does not yet have executive authority. So what he is saying, or what he said to Ghanaians on Wednesday, is that if you give me executive authority, these are the things I am going to do. So obviously, if he had executive authority now, or if he can move the rest of the government in that direction, obviously, some of these things will be done. The fact that they haven't been done now simply means he hasn't been able to move the rest of the government in that direction. And he also, on his own, does not have executive authority. And that is why he says that I am a mate. Let me be the driver. That's the main reason for that comment. Thank you, Samson.
We know typically when you use the mate analogy, a driver will never hand his wheel to a mate who has failed. So let's say the owner of the car rather than the driver and the mate. The owner of the car, having realized the mate and the driver have both driven into a ditch without the mate ensuring that the car didn't get into the ditch, will not take the car back and give it to the two of them to restore it.
Not necessarily. And the mate is not the driver. I mean, this show or this production that you do, you have done it so well over the period. I am sure somebody stands in for you when you are not here. Okay?
That's right.
And it's possible for that person to have a different slant on the show. No two people are the same. The people who were hosting the show before you, they did it well. I remember the Kweku Sechiados,
the Nanayas.
Yes, and who really put the show.
The Sonny Dekas.
But you also came with your own slant, and you have also taken it to a different level.
There were people who say you don't do it like Kweku Sechiado. I tell them, look, I can never be Kweku Sechiado.
But the main point of Bawumia's statement is that give me executive authority. And if you give me executive authority, this is the direction I would take.
Yeah, so I turn the question. The owner of the vehicle handed it to a driver and the driver's mate. The vehicle, as all of us admit, and Vice President Bawumia...
The mate doesn't drive the vehicle.
As Vice President Bawumia himself admits, we are in a very trying time, very difficult situation.
Yeah.
Because of what has happened by way of inflation and all of that, our circumstances is very terrible. Alan Chiramanting is prosecuting his agenda on being able to arrest the falling cedi, so to speak, inflation. So why should the owner of the vehicle hand it, after you've driven it into a ditch together with the mate, hand it to the mate?
Well, this is an analogy. You would agree?
Yes.
Okay. So you should not stretch it too far. But if you want to stretch it...
Once you used it, we want to interrogate it.
Well, if you want to stretch it, the simple answer is that the mate doesn't drive the vehicle. And so if you are a good owner and the driver is retiring, mind you, the driver is not being sacked. And that is another angle that people like to push.
That's right.
The driver or the owner, as we speak, has not said the driver is bad. Going by the last election where the owner spoke, the owner renewed the mandate of the driver. You can speculate that the owner is not happy, but that's speculation. And mind you, the driver still has almost
but
a year.
It's a fact, not speculation, that Ghanaians are not happy. To the point that President Akufo-Addo has had to call you guys and say, stop speaking against the policies. If you do that, you become party enemy.
You know, when in the primaries, many of the contenders, they thought that they could have an advantage by placing themselves outside the government. Bawumia was the only person who sought to place himself within the government, and he won. So, when the owner spoke, the last time the owner spoke, the owner renewed the mandate of the driver. Where we are now, we are going through a rough road. We are very sure that very soon we'll steer the car onto a better road. So this whole business that there's failure and somebody's to be blamed, and I don't see it. We are in difficulty. We are in a difficult patch. The analogy that works for me is that we are on a difficult part of the road, like we are in an aircraft and you face turbulence. It will be tough, but you hope that the pilot and his first officer and so on would get you out of the turbulence. And as we speak, we all know we are in turbulence. If you look at the total record of this government, in the first 3 years before COVID, the economy was on a trajectory that was quite positive. Between the period 2017 and 2019. And the GDP expansion, for example, was touted as the best in the world. We all know that when we got into the 2020 with COVID, and there was a global difficulty. Our friends in the NDC, when they go out of the country, they place the difficulties that we are having in Africa within the COVID turbulence. It's only when they come to Ghana that they don't mention. Then the sad part of it, when they come to Ghana, they seek to blame one person. I don't understand it. Mind you, when the contest was going on, the NDC contest, for the 10 people who were seeking the flag bearership, our friends in the NDC, they concentrated their criticism and attack on just one of them, Bawumia. That clearly shows you that our friends in the NDC, they know the potential danger that Bawumia poses to them. And even before the man became flag bearer, they had been attacking him right from day one. So I am not surprised that they will seek to still attack him. I mean, it's normal.
All right.